We've come up to the northern Rampart walk. There is a southern. In order to enter the southern, currently, you have to go across the road, down to the moat, to the ditch, and there is a ticket office. Now, basically, the same place when you have tourists and you want to go here, you also have to pass through the same office. You get a QR code for scanning, okay, and then you come through here. Okay, so whether you do south to Zion Gate or even to the Western Wall to the Dung Gate, you start from there and you go up. But even if you do this and from here, you can go all the way up to the Lions Gate, straight to the other side, to the eastern side of the city. You still have to go through the office, get your code, and then scan it here, and you go up just like the tourists that are with us. Along the wall, just a few months ago, they put the Guardians of Jerusalem from various periods. And you saw them, you saw the samples here. And they're placed on different sites along the Rampart walk. Here you have the Ottomans, you have the British, you have the Belgians, you have the Jordanians, etc., etc. And with this as well, you have an application that you can scan and hear their story. Okay, now with a big group, it's irrelevant, but if you have a small group, it's quite nice to do. So here you have the samples so you can identify them when you meet them. Two last things about Jaffa Gate, and I'm sure you'll get back to them when you speak later on the course. First, the Tower of David, which is an icon of Jerusalem in art for centuries. Okay, in all religions, it became the symbol, the icon of Jerusalem, because it's at the western entrance to the city. Now, the Tower of David is a great name, except for two minor things. It's not a tower. It has nothing to do with King David. Not a tower because this is actually a minaret of a mosque. It's a minara of a mosque that was built here in the 14th century. Okay, for the citadel, and you still have the mihrab and everything else at the museum just under it.
When?
He was there.
14th century.
14th century. Sunday
Okay,
was there.
and was just in the last year it was renovated. And why not King David? Where is the city of David?
That's way.
All the way outside the city on the south, but it doesn't matter because everybody who comes to Jerusalem wants to link themselves with the mythical founder of the city. So we have the Tower of David. Already the Crusaders called it Turis David in Latin. Okay, and across the road, just a few hundred meters, we have which hotel? King David Hotel on King David Street, and right next to it, the ancient Mamila is now a very wealthy neighborhood called David's Village, Kfar David. Okay, so everything is named after David. He was never here. It doesn't matter. You want to link yourself with the mythology, and it goes also quite nicely with the builder of the wall that we're gonna walk on, Suleiman. Suleiman is Solomon. Okay, now it was his given name. But in people's minds, again, you have the mythical builder of the temple 3,000 years ago, and you have the mythical builder of the wall in their times, 16th century and on. And the last thing, there is a wall to defend the city. Why is it cut? And when?
It has been opened by Wilhelm, for Wilhelm.
It was breached by the Ottomans in 1898, 1898, to allow Kaiser Wilhelm II, Emperor of Germany, to enter the city not by foot but by horse and carriage. More importantly, carriage. Now, to be fair, he rode a horse, but his wife, Augusta Victoria, okay, the hospital of Mount of Olives, she entered by carriage. Now, it is said that when he heard that the Turks want to, there was a moat, a ditch. When he heard that the Turks want to fill the ditch and tear off the wall, he said it's a barbaric act because this is the history of Jerusalem. And yet they did it, and he enjoyed it when he was entering Jerusalem. And we will see later on today where he was going to. So 1898, wall breached. Ever since, you can come in by car, carriage, etc.
What's the thing about not being able to go in through horse?
Because before that, there was a moat, a very deep moat, and a thin wall. So you could not just walk in. You had to go through the gate, and the gate is always guarded.
Wasn't there a tradition that whoever comes to Jerusalem on horse conquers the city or something?
There was an ancient tradition that we're not sure whether the British invented it or not. That if a ruler, okay, a foreign ruler comes on horseback, he would conquer Jerusalem. So they say that this is why it didn't happen before. And when General Allenby enters Jerusalem, December 1917, what does he do on purpose?
He proclaimed his victory.
He goes off the horseback and enters by foot, saying, I will not go on a horseback when someone so important walked here barefoot before me, referring to Jesus.
So he went down and he went by foot.
Sorry? So he went by foot through the gate. Now, last thing about the gate. What is, as you enter, and we all, guys, please, if you, I don't mind if you talk, but not right next to me. As you enter the gate, and we all did that. Can you go straight in?
No, it's a L shape.
L shape. Why is that?
Because of the enemies. To slow them down.
Exactly, to slow down, to break the assault. Now, in ancient times, there were two theories. If the enemy manages to break in, some said you want their left side exposed because they yield the sword on the right hand. Okay, so they cannot attack you. And others said, well, but on the left hand they have their shield, so I cannot attack them. Maybe we better have their right side exposed when we plan our L-shaped turn. So what do we have eventually? Some gates are right turn, some gates are left turn. Jaffa gate left, Zion gate right turn. And Damascus gate, which we're going to enter later on, double. Left and right, which proves to us that when the Ottoman wall was built, Damascus gate in the north was the most important gate, the most well fortified, and you'll see that it was also beautified, okay, the most well decorated of all the 7 city gates, the open gates. Okay, so